Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Sallallahu sallam wa barak ala Rasulillah. Before we start the Q&A, inshallah, two things. The first is for the brothers and sisters who need to reach out to us in confidence or structure or schedule. You can do so via Zoom through HadithDisciple.com with regards to marital counseling, premarital counseling, guidance and advice with regards to problems in marriage, looking for divorce, waswas, depression, anxiety, anything that you need advice and guidance, personal Q&As, structured tutoring, one-on-one, etc. You can do that, inshallah ta'ala, wherever you live, whether you live in the Netherlands, or you live in the Cape, or whether you live in New Zealand, or whether you live in London or Leicester or Canada, wherever you are in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's earth, feel free to do so, inshallah ta'ala. If you can't reach us via these live streams on HadithDiscipleshop.com, along with a full list of lectures, classes, and workshops that are exclusive to that website and you cannot find on Mufti Q&A or Hadith Disciple on YouTube. Jazakumullahu khairan. And we thank all of our disciples. We give them the greetings about Islam, all of our supporters, all of the detractors, anyone who listens, watches, comments, donates, helps, volunteers, shows love, makes dua, whatever your form of support may be, we thank and we appreciate each and every one of you. Jazakumullahu khairan. All right, so before we get started with the Q&A, the second thing is, after the salah, I try to practice an old sunnah, which is to pick up a random volume of a random book. Not in order, alphabetical, topical, 1, 2, like Russian roulette. Blindfold yourself and just pick up a book. And just open up the book and read it for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And get a sporadic fa'idah. Alright? And the fa'idah today is from Tafsir al-Tabari, Jami' al-Bayan, which is without a doubt, I don't think one would exaggerate if they said the most important book on tafsir. The most important book. Absolutely indispensable for anyone who claims to be a student of knowledge, let alone a scholar. And not to mention anybody's name, but ما أقبح قول من قال that Tafsir al-Tabari doesn't do tafsir. كذا قال Tabari la yufassir. He just mentions the statements of the tabi'een and the sahaba, and then that's it. Now, I don't know how that brother made that statement. May Allah forgive me and forgive him. Wallah, I don't know what he was drinking or smoking, what intoxication he was under to make a statement like that. But the dangerous thing about that is that proves that that individual did not read Tabari. Alright? Anyone who's read Tabari for 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months, knows that a Tabari does not just ينقل ليس مجرد النقل بل ينقل ويسند يعلق يشرح ويفسر ويوجه الإشكالات والقراءات والاختلافات ويرجح ترجيحا. فهذا دليل على أن صاحب تلك المقالة لم يقرأ الطبري. وإذا ما قرأ الطبري, if he hasn't read tafsir al-Tabari, how is he an exegete? And how are you making tafsir of the Quran, let alone bringing the secrets of the Quran and these different asrar and these benefits that no one has mentioned before you? Khatir jiddan is extremely dangerous. I couldn't respect any student of knowledge speaking about the tafsir of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has not read Tabari at least once, from cover to cover. Bottom line. Or at least opened it up and studied it and read it. Ibn Kathir, Qurtubi, Alusi, this one, that one, Razi, kulluhum alatun ala Tabari. All of them are in debt to Tabari. And of course, those scholars who came before Tabari that also mentioned the tafsir of the Salaf as-Salih and the Sahaba and the Kutub as-Sittah Ibn Abi Hatim, so on and so on and so on and so forth. Those before, during, and after his time, after the uh, systematic formalization or the formatting, the evolution of the books of tafsir as a genre. And obviously back in the day, the tafsir was حدثنا وأخبرنا. هذا تفسير السلف. Alright? Then gradually, some of those ulama wouldn't just quote, but they would yuwajjihu, link things together, link pieces together, comment on things, as we read in Bukhari. Bukhari makes a statement here after he quotes Ibn Abbas, or Hassan al-Basri, or Ibn Umar, right? But for a person to say that Tabari never made tafsir of the Quran, and he's not a mufassir, and he's just a person who just quotes, is an appalling statement. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance. And if we don't have the guidance, then at least the ability to shut up, to keep our mouths quiet. Especially when we talk about these affairs that are above our pay grades, in which the elevator doesn't reach the top. Your elevator only makes it to the 4th floor, bro. You only got 4 floors in your hotel. This is a 20, 30, 50, 100-story building. You have no business hitting that button trying to go up there. May Allah help us all. All right. So the faida is from Surah Ali Imran, verse number 20. Al-qawlu fi ta'wili qawlihi وقل للذين أوتوا الكتاب والأميين أسلمتم فإن أسلموا فقد اهتدوا يعني بذلك جل ثناؤه وقل يا محمد للذين أوتوا الكتاب من اليهود والنصارى والأميين الذين لا كتاب لهم من مشرك العرب. شو هذا إذا لم يكن هذا تفسيرا؟ That's tafsir. So it's proof once again that he didn't what? He never even opened up the book. And unfortunately, this person or those people who talk like that, they're blind following people who also haven't read the book. And we all know the harm of blind following. Darar al-taqleed. It harms the mind, and of course it's going to harm the body. Blindly following someone, and obviously blindly following التقليد الأعمى الذي يصحبه التعظيم والتقديس. أنت تقلد هذا الشيخ وهو عظيم في عينك. لا يمكن أن يخطي ويسهو ويضل. Obviously, it's no hope for you. Blindly following someone that you already look to be at a what? On a high pedestal. Because you don't think that there's no need to think critically about anything that they say. And many of us are like that today. Not only do we blind follow, not only are we fanatical, but we look at those whom we blind follow as being, it's impossible for them to earn. And rather, there's no need for us to even think about what they say. May Allah help us. All right. So Tabari, he says, and common sense shows you that this is tafsir. Ya'ni bidhalika. He says that Allah Jalla Thana'uhu means by this ayah, وَقُلْ, O Muhammad, لِلَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ مِنَ الْيَهُودِ وَالنَّصَارَى, from the Jews and the Christians, وَالْأُمِّيِّينَ, and the Ummiyin, those who have no book, from the pagan Arabs. أَأَسْلَمْتُمْ يَقُولُ قُلْ لَهُمْ هَلْ أَفْرَدْتُمُ التَّوْحِيدَ وَأَخْلَصْتُمُ الْعِبَادَةَ وَالْأُلُوهَةَ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ دون سائر الأنداد والأشراك التي تشركونها معه في عبادتكم إياه. شوف كيف الطبري فسر الإسلام بإيش؟ بالتوحيد. أسلمتم يعني أفردتم التوحيد. So the faida here is that no one can come along and say that Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah ta'ala, first one to come and say Islam is Tawheed, 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 Tawheed. That it's a new thing for political gain, for political reasons, etc. So this is Tabari. Okay, how many years before Ibn Abdul Wahhab? 700. Anything else? 1,000? Along many hundreds of years ago, right? And he says, Aslamtum means Allah's asking them, Afrantum Tawheed. Have you singled me out in your worship? Is your Islam based upon the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Duna sa'ir al-andadi wal-ashraq. Without the other partners, the walis, and the mashahid, the graves, and the shrines, and the jinn, whatever, and dead. He says, Allati tushrikunaha ma'ahu, that you use to mix in and placing the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وإقراركم بربوبيتهم وأنتم تعلمون أنه لا رب غيره ولا إله سواه فإن أسلموا يقول فإن انقادوا لإفراد الوحدانية لله أعاده وإخلاص العبادة والألوهة له أعاده وكرره فقد اهتدوا يعني فقد أصابوا سبيل الحق وسلكوا محجة الرشد فإن قال قائل وكيف قيل فإن أسلموا فقد اهتدوا عقيب الاستفهام وهل يجوز على هذا في الكلامين يقال لرجل هل تقوم فإن تقوم أكرمك قيل ذلك جائز. And now he's explaining the lugha. How long, how many pages? Just that one lugha point. Obviously he's doing much more. And everything we read, not once did he say what? حدثنا وأخبرنا. All of that kalam was whose kalam? Tabari's kalam. So how can a person say his book is just what? حشد الأقوال ونقلها فقط. So be careful, huh? والله تعالى عالم. طيب, let's start off with the questions inshallah. Shahriya, fadl. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
In the time of the Salaf, we see less books, but now the scholarship has increased more. But it's the Salaf are better. So how can we explain this seeming contradiction?
You have to read the book Fadl al-Ilm al-Salafi ala Ilm al-Khalaf. Ibn Rajab. It's a must read. The book is available in Arabic and it's available in English. This is one of the first books that I explained on the channel many years ago in Medina. Check it out. All of those questions and many more are answered with regards to how the Salaf dealt with knowledge, spoke less, but had greater depth to their words and greater fiqh. Check it out, inshallah ta'ala. Fadlu ilm al-salaf ala ilm al-khalaf. وهو كتاب مهم ترى لطالب العلم. Okay, very important book for the student of knowledge. Fadlu ilm al-salaf ala ilm al-khalaf. It's a must read. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Fadl ya akhi.
In some reports it said that Rasulullah ﷺ had honey at the house of Zainab, and others it said at the house of Hafsa. What's your opinion, and how can we, like for example, if the Quran has any so-called contradiction, we could just look it up on tafsir in English. But for a student of knowledge who doesn't know Arabic, how can he find reconciliations that are in English? Because all of these books are in Arabic.
طيب. Abu Abdul Warith, he has the answer to this and the other questions, whereas we were supposed to bring the research and go deeper into those supposedly problematic issues pertaining to the story of the honey. Where's Harun? Harun as well. And others as well. Abir, we said this last week or the week before last? We were supposed to, right? Who did the research? So this is, alhamdulillah, one example of the research. What's important is things that seem to be contradictory or problematic or polemic. Now, there's only one from among many in that story. We're going to wait for everyone to bring their research, inshallah ta'ala, and get to the bottom of that story. When the question was posed, did the Sahabi have to lie? Did they lie to the Prophet in front of the Prophet? Right? So on and so forth. Remember, guys? No?
No.
Hopefully next week, Hamza. Inshallah. Guys, you have to do your homework. Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. We'll wait until then. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And the same applies to how the everyday Muslim is to deal with those seemingly contradictory verses and how to get to the bottom of them, inshallah ta'ala. From online.
CB from College Park, Maryland. How do I deal with a fighter who would attack and says bad things about Islam? Can I distance myself from him?
If your father leaves Islam, may Allah protect us all.
Ameen.
You got to make a lot of dua for Allah to guide him or bring him back. And you got to plead with your father and fight with him. If you have to physically fight with him, you do so. That's your father. To get him to come back to the guidance. Tell him that you love him, how you feel about him, and how you need him to be Muslim for you to be in Jannah together, etc. And if he has issues or, like I said, contradictory things, try to sit down and explain them to him. And if not, take him to someone more knowledgeable, more learned. As far as if he refuses and he has left Islam and you've given him the advice, then there is a certain distance that you keep from him. He's still your father, but you have to make your wala and bara known and clear. But what I will say to you is be careful. Many people say that someone has left Islam and they haven't left Islam. They may have strayed. They may be thinking about things. They may be confused. They may have some issues. بعض الشبه يتعلق بشيء لا يعني أنه فعلا ارتد وخرج عن الدين. That's dangerous. Wallahu alam.
C.H. Joshua, Texas. I received the way of the disciple today. Great read, Mufti. Jazakallahu khair. I was wondering what you were up to when you were 18 years old, turning 19, as am I.
Jazakallah khairan. I'm glad to hear that you got the book, The Way of the Disciple. May Allah make it a benefit for you. And may Allah forgive the author and hide his faults. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. I definitely advise the brothers to read the book, not just because it's my book, but because of the unique nature of the book. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. As far as what I was doing when I was 18 or 19, I think I was in Medina at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Medina. I graduated high school when I was 18, and that summer, I went to Medina, late August, early September. So I was studying overseas in the Prophet city at that time. Wallahu alam.
UM from San Francisco, California. Does a wife get held accountable for staying with a spouse who does haram work for income, or should she support him regardless of his work?
Say the question again, please.
Does the UM from SF, California. Does a wife get held accountable for staying with a spouse who does haram work for income, or should she support him regardless of his works?
A wife has to give advice to her husband, and she has to enjoin the good and forbid the evil with her husband, with respect. And to be honest, especially when he's openly, publicly disobeying Allah, she may have to get a little tough with him. Not in a disrespectful manner, but, roll up her sleeves like, yo, you gotta stop. You're going to stop. You're harming yourself. You're harming us. You're feeding us with haram. That's a good wife who puts her foot down for the sake of her husband's soul, let alone worldly well-being. If the husband refuses, and there's no excuse, there's no fatwa or no, necessity, whatever, then obviously things have to go in a different direction. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Hamza. Fadl. You had a question?
Yeah, my question is, what is the ruling on taking a video or a photo of a human being?
What is the ruling on taking a video or photo of a human being? As we've explained this many, many times before, it's a modern day issue with regards to modern means of videography or photography. Drawing, illustrating, painting, sculpting is very old. But the modern technology is a modern day issue. And like many, if not most modern day issues, the modern day scholars will differ. Dollar bills, way before Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, when dollar bills first came on the scene, scholars differed over the validity of using dollar bills versus gold and silver. A bank note, right? And who were the first peoples to introduce banknotes? Was it the Mongols during their vast conquests within their empire with unified currency, in which people didn't have to carry around heavy coins, gold coins, easily stolen? You can hear it jingle, someone steal it. Was it the Crusaders, the Templar Knights, so on and so forth, from Western Europe to the Holy Lands, etc.? What's important is when dollar bills, banknotes, these things, checks, etc., when they came to the lands of the Muslims, the modern day scholars differed with regards to zakat. Do you have to pay zakat on paper? Or is a zakat only for naqdain, al-dhahab wal-fidda, right? And other issues as well, modern day issues. So therefore, some scholars are going to say that taking pictures of living things is haram and a major sin. And other scholars, they may argue and they may say it is not haram and it does not take the place It does not take the same ruling of imitating Allah's creation with one's hand. All right, we have videos just on that topic. And of course, the golden rule is when in doubt, do without. Da ma yaribuka. You're uncomfortable, abstain. Wallahu alam. Faddal.
What is the line between trying to develop routine in طلب العلم in العبادة versus يعني تحديد العبادة في وقت محدد؟
ما فهمت سؤالك.
What's the
مش
line?
تحديد العبادة يعني كيف؟
And to restrict the ibadah at a certain time. Or
يعني البدعة تقصد؟ طيب الفرق يعني مثلا بين الورد اليومي والابتداع مثلا. طيب. You trying to do something at a specific time on a daily basis with regards to your schedule. Does that fall into innovation, so on and so forth? First and foremost is the niyyah. I'm not saying that this ibadah has a special virtue at this time, but it's the time in which I wish to pray. It's the time in which I'm free. It's the time in which I have the most energy. It's the time in which I'm not working, so on and so forth. That's not the same as a person making 2 raka'ah or reading the Quran or sending salah on the Prophet ﷺ, making dhikr, thinking and believing أن له فضيلة في هذا الوقت المعين بدون دليل. This is extra. This has more reward. And as we said before, it's very important to understand that bid'ah is a spiritual steroid. It's a spiritual steroid. It's meant to get you bigger, faster. So people, they make these innovations, whether they know they're innovations or not, because they believe that they hurl them further along, quicker. Understand? So therefore, أنا ما أعتقد أن له فضيلة في هذا الوقت، لكن هذا الوقت الذي يتيسر لي. النوم، العمل، ها هو. I like to read my juz after Fajr. I like to read my juz at night. I like to read my juz when I'm by myself, etc., etc., etc. It's not the same as someone thinking that it's special or more virtuous during a specific time. Wallahu ta'ala alam. From online.
MJ, Sydney, Australia. Assalamu alaikum, حفظكم الله. ما هو أفضل الكتاب في حجية السنة ودفاع عن السنة من شبهات المستشرقين؟
جزاك الله خيرا لسؤالك أو لسؤالك المفيد. أنا ما أستطيع أن أقول أفضل كتاب في حجية السنة والدفاع عنها ودحض شبه المستشرقين. ما أستطيع أن أقول هذا لأني ما قرأت كل كتاب في الموضوع. والإنسان إذا صرح بأن أفضل كتاب في موضوع الفلاني كذا، هذا يستلزم أنه قد اطلع على كل ما ألف وكتب في الموضوع وقرأ وطلع عليها، وهذا شيء صعب. يقول يعني الإنسان قد يقول من أفضل الكتب، من أنفع الكتب، من أشهر الكتب، من الكتب التي يعني تعتمد في هذا الباب. أما يقول ويدعي أفضل كتاب على الإطلاق هكذا، هذه يعني قول ثقيل نوعا ما. فمن الكتب المهمة ومن الكتب المنتشرة إلى آخره. عرفت كيف؟ فعلى سبيل المثال طبعا كتاب الشيخ مصطفى السباعي رحمه الله تعالى كتاب مهم ترى جدا. وكذلك مثلا مكانة السنة للشيخ الدكتور أستاذنا في المدينة الشيخ الحسيني، كتاب مشهور. يعني تاريخ السنة. هناك كتب ألف في هذا الموضوع. أفضل كتاب ما أستطيع أن أقول هذا، لكن هناك كتب. فإن كنت ترغب نحن نرسل ونبعث لك قائمة بهذه الكتب إن شاء الله تعالى. قمنا بذلك بإذن الله تعالى. والله أعلم. هذا باختصار يعني. تفضل.
UH Philly, Pennsylvania. How does a Muslim treat a Muslim who is exhibiting signs of being a psychopath or a sociopath?
Say the question again.
How does a Muslim treat a Muslim who is exhibiting signs of being a psychopath or a sociopath?
Muslim, how does he treat a Muslim with regards to showing signs of being a sociopath or a psychopath? Allahu Alam. Yani, be careful of saying that someone is a sociopath or a psychopath. And don't forget, guys, when we talk about psychology, psychology is a two-way mirror. If you're talking about someone, this and that, the same can be said about you. All right? As an example of this, a person says, this person's insecure, this person, he loves attention, blah, 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 blah. Like, he loves the chair. He loves to be seen by the people. You don't know what's in his heart, what's on his mind. But someone can say something about you. You love to watch people and look at people. How do you know a person loves the chair? Unless you yourself love to see men sitting in chairs. Right or wrong? You get the point?
Yeah.
Okay? So, yeah, I mean, we have to be careful. Al-Muhim, a Muslim who shows signs of mental illness, try to give him help. Try to help out your Muslim brother. Wallahu alam.
H8, Philly, Pennsylvania. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. What is your take on uniting with other Muslims who may not be on the right aqidah for the sake of standing against the transgender crisis?
وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. Allah says, help each other upon bir and taqwa. Period.
HH Disciple, Haitashid, Egypt. Assalamu alaikum. Any advice for a student currently learning under a harsh teacher, or any books one can read that relate to this?
Reading under a harsh teacher?
Yeah, learning under a harsh teacher.
Learning under a harsh teacher. Right. Make dua for your teacher. And know for sure that you're professional. You're not seeking knowledge for friendship or love or romance, like many of us do. You want to seek knowledge for benefit. Period. My teacher is ugly. My teacher is handsome. Jameel al-Surah, Qabih al-Surah. Al-ilm alladhi indahu. He's high status, low status, wealthy. He dressed nice. He smelled the benefit. He treats me well. He knows my name. The benefit. That's all you're after. Professionalism. Secondly is make dua for your teacher, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to soften his akhlaq. Thirdly, a harsh teacher is a benefit. It's good. If you can do well with a harsh teacher, you know you've done well. Every teacher isn't the same. All teachers cannot be the same. All teachers shouldn't be easy and soft, easygoing. There has to be a balance. You need some harshness, you need some kindness. That mixture makes you complete. As far as books regarding the topic, then any book that deals with the adab al-talab, and from that is Ibn Abdul Barr's book, Jami' Bayan al-Ilm al-Fadlihi. He mentions this with regards to some of the akhlaq. Also Al-Khatib, rahimahullah ta'ala, and Al-Jami' li akhlaq rawi wa adab al-sami', and other books with regards to su' khuluq al-shaykh, right? A shaykh who may have bad character. And don't forget that a teacher is a human being. Some people are easygoing, some people aren't so easygoing. Even those with knowledge. Just because a person has knowledge doesn't mean he's perfected his or her character. Alright? Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
ISUK London. Can I lead salah when I have gas incontinence? My local imam is not always present. I get pushed to the front. It's possible I know the most Quran. We have a very small jama'ah.
Leading salat with problems with your bowels, or passing wind, things like this, incontinence with urine, etc. If someone else can lead the salat, then that's best. But if you're the best person to lead the salat, there's no one else that's better than you, just lead the salat, make sure that you have the wudu bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Wallahu alam.
ISUK London. I have not done Hajj before. I have an opportunity to Hajj on a tourist visa, but it means not wearing ihram at the miqat, but paying fidya. Am I sinful for not going Hajj this year?
If you don't have the money to make Hajj, and you have a trip to go, but under a tourist visa, you're going to violate the rulings of ihram, etc., pick your poison. Don't go at all. Go disobey Allah, unfortunately, and pay the fidya. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. You got to figure out. You got to prioritize. It's that simple. Wallahu alam.
AG, Austin, Texas. What is the ruling on giving zakat al-fitr in cash to to the masjid for them to distribute on your behalf? And is it preferred to distribute zakat on your own?
Some scholars say that zakat al-fitr can be given in cash or yani naqd. It can be given in currency. Many scholars hold that view. As far as is it best to do it on your own, that depends. If you have the ability to make sure it gets or it goes to its rightful owner, rightful recipient, khairan. That's better for you, inshallah ta'ala.
HS Sarajevo, Bosnia. What is the rule?
Sarajevo.
Sarajevo, Bosnia. What is the ruling on going to a mixed gym? Does the ruling depend on the person and whether they can lower their gaze, or is it always haram?
Don't go to a mixed gym. Period. Don't go. Find somewhere else to work out. Buy some weights, put them in your basement. Get together with some brothers or sisters. It could be a sister asking a question. Whatever type of equipment you need. And if not, if you don't have the money for the gym equipment, you can run for free. You can walk for free. You can do push-ups, pull-ups, jump rope. You can stretch. You can do sit-ups. There's so many different ways of getting in shape, staying in shape, burning fat, building muscle mass, so on and so forth. And of course, as we said before, the gym is not just a place that you go, but the gym is a culture. It's a whole way of life. What you wear, how you act, how you flex, what you drink, your water bottle. Huh? Is this not the case? Right, Hamza? They have the special water bottles. There's a whole culture behind it. So if you go to that gym, what is going to guarantee that you're going to be protected from that culture? And now, I don't think that everything in gym culture is haram. But we know many aspects of the gym culture are haram. And many aspects of the gym culture pertain to homosexuality and lesbianism, let alone zina. So be mindful. Strength, being in shape, getting rid of your bare belly, whatever, six pack, alhamdulillah, nothing wrong with that. Alright? Shout out to Rip Wright, nothing wrong with that. But there are limits and parameters. Wallahu alam.
SD Palembang, Indonesia. Is endangered shark halal to consume?
An endangered shark, is it halal to consume? Stay away from it. The Prophet ﷺ told us, لولا أن الكلاب أمة من الأمم لأمرت بقتلها. If it wasn't for the fact that dogs are a nation by themselves, I would command for their extermination. Think about that hadith now. That hadith, one can say, is the foundation for preservation of animals and preservation for certain species. If it wasn't for the fact that dogs are an ummah, I would say get rid of all of them because of the harm that dogs bring. Okay? And obviously we know that dogs bring many benefits. So therefore, if a species for real is about to go extinct, you should stay away from, eating it or wearing or whatever the case may be. Because that could be disrespecting the law. That could harm the humans later on, and so on and so forth. But of course, many people, they say things are in danger and they actually aren't. Wallahu alam. And by the way, baby shark is very delicious. Wallahu alam.
H.A. Dublin, Ireland. Can I marry a Shia girl? She prays to Allah and makes dua and worships Allah alone.
You marry her with the condition that she'll quit being a Shiite. If she doesn't make that agreement, and if she doesn't seem sincere or even possible to stop, stay away.
A.M. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Can you be a businessman and a student of knowledge at the same time?
Can you be a businessman and a student of knowledge at the same time? Yes and no. Or no and yes. In the beginning, no. Heck no. As far as once you're advanced, you've been studying for many years, you have something under your belt, firmer feet, mumkin. And obviously the percentage, you have to pick what you want to be. I'm not that, super student of knowledge. I'm just, I memorize the Quran. I have some things, I can lead the salah if I have to. do a khutbah every now and then, teach a class with the, no problem. But I'm a businessman. I like getting money. I like making money. Khairan. That's fine. Nothing is wrong with that. That's a good thing. But the problem comes in which you take the person coming off the bench is not starting, let alone the star of the team, the nucleus of the team. You understand? So you can't take it to that next level unless you're willing to give your time, unless you're willing to spend all of your time and your money and your effort of being a full-time student of knowledge. So part-time, at certain times in your career, maybe. And the percentage, I'm a full-time student of knowledge, part-time, such and such. 20%, 30%, right? Wallahu alam. Hamza.
How to cut a sheep from Quran and Sunnah?
How to cut,
Slaughter
a sheep from Quran and Sunnah?
or a cow.
Well, first and foremost is you have to pick the animal properly. The animal has to be salim min al-uyub wal-afat wal-amrad. The animal can't be sickly. It can't be, measly, skinny, scrawny, dying, gimpy. It can barely walk. It can't keep up with the rest of the flock. It's missing an eye. All right? Some scholars even say with regards to a broken horn, right? Its ear missing, so on and so forth. It's supposed to be salim, free from any outward blemish. All right? And obviously, the fatter the animal, the better. The bigger the animal, the better. The heavier the animal, the better. The costlier the more animal, the better. All right? When it's time to slaughter the animal, make sure that you fulfill all of the conditions of slaughtering. That you're Muslim, that you have the physical strength, so on and so forth. You make sure that your blade is sharp enough and long enough, but not too long. And many brothers, they make a mistake by having a blade that's too long. And it becomes cumbersome and difficult to manage properly. In general, the shorter the blade, the easier you can wield it, and the faster you can move it, right? So your blade shouldn't be too long. Me personally, I prefer shorter blades than the longer type of blades. To me, it's easier when you have a shorter blade. Me personally. Make sure the blade is razor sharp. Do not torture or punish the animal, drag it unnecessarily, slaughter other animals in front of it unnecessarily. Sometimes you can't help it. And some animals are very, very, very stubborn. Sometimes you have no choice. You have no choice sometimes. Durura. And many animals are very smart and intelligent. They know that you're trying to have stew beef. And he says, not me, buddy. I'm not going to be in your pot tonight over my dead body. I've seen it with my own eyes. Very smart animals. They can smell the curry. They can smell the sauce. They can smell it. They know you're trying to eat them. And they'll fight, right? One time the animal ran, all the way across the Van Wyck once. I was in Jamaica, on the south side of Jamaica. What? I'm not going for it. The lamb chops is not going to beat me. So sometimes you have no choice but to grab the animal, pull the animal. Sometimes you can't. But if that's not the case, be as gentle as you can. All right? It is not a condition to turn an animal towards the Qibla. It is not a condition, and one may say not even a sunnah, to make wudu on the animal. And to make a long dua. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Allahumma hadha minni wa ilayk, taqabbal minni, boom. From ear to ear, quick, fast, rapid, sharp cut, in which you remove the carotids, jugular, the esophagus. Once it's clean, the blood pours out, it flows vigorously. Khalas, Bismillah. Let all of the blood leave before you pick up the animal, before you do anything else with it. Khairan, inshallah ta'ala. And of course, a few cooking tips is if you're cutting the meat, it's always best to let the meat cool down a little bit. Hot, fresh flesh is hard to cut through. It's soft and rubbery type. Oftentimes freeze it even a little bit. It'll be very, very easy to cut through. Wallahu ta'ala alam. From online. Toilet, photo. Yeah, something.
Oh yeah, it's medicine.
Okay, طيب, have fun.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yakum.
What is the sunnah animal to slaughter on the Adha?
Sunnah animal? But some scholars say that the best animal to slaughter, of course, is the camel. and after the camel, the cow. But in other scholars, they say rather, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ضحى بإيش؟ كمشين أقرنين أملحين. He slaughtered 2 sheep that were peppered, salt and pepper, tuxedo, white and black, right? And the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, every year, obviously the different narrations with regards to Ali radiallahu anhu slaughtering his camels, Hajjatul Wada, with regards to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu slaughtering a camel, a cow for his wives. But in most cases, the Prophet sallallahu slaughtered a sheep of gold. It didn't necessarily slaughter bigger animals. So some scholars say that's best, even though it isn't as heavy and it isn't as costly as the camel or the cow. All right? So inshallah, all of them are sunnah one way or another. Slaughter according to your means. And inshallah, try your best to avoid showing off. Many people that go on an ego trip or on the Eid, they want to show off. They want to, I'm the big man. I can, if you got it like that and you're sincere, bismillah, let it be. But don't go on an ego trip. Slaughter what you can. Slaughter what you can afford. Bid in the lifetime. And obviously the animal should be free and far from those defects and those blemishes, fat. And of course there are specifics of the color of the animal as we mentioned before. Tata'u fi sawad. Right? Or the white and the black. So on and so forth with regards to the rings around the eyes, the black and the white. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Amjad. Fadal.
So what if there's doubt on how old the animal is? Permissible to slaughter it?
Use precaution. Use precaution. Inshallah. Wallahu alam. Amjad.
So previously, Sheikh, you said you can't marry a Shi'i unless the condition is that she believes her sect. But we could marry Jews and Christians without that condition. So why do you give that condition?
Right. Well, first and foremost is, during the time in which those ayats were sent down about Ahlul Kitab, there were no Shia. That's first and foremost. There was no thing called Rafida or Rafidi. So that's number one. Number two, no doubt, as some of the Salaf said, that the Rafidi, the Shi'i, أقبح وأخبث من اليهودي والنصراني. He's worse than a Jew and a Christian from some aspects. And that's because you cannot bring any Christian, Catholic, Evangelist, Baptist, Latter-day Saint, Jehovah's Witness, whatever his sect may be, Presbyterian, Protestant, Orthodox, except that he's going to acknowledge that the best of people are the disciples of Christ. Right or wrong?
No.
Right or wrong? No doubt about that. The Jews, who are they going to say the best of people? The people that were with Musa. And these people today say the people that were with the Prophet day and night were the munafiqun. إذا جاءك المنافقون قالوا نشهد إنك لرسول الله. They said that's talking about Abu Bakr and Umar. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. That ayah, that's talking about Abu Bakr and Umar. يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْجِبْتِ وَالطَّاغُوتِ. They believe in Jibt and the Taghut. They say that's talking about what? Abu Bakr and Umar. Okay. Ask a Christian, who are the best people? What are they going to say about Paul? And John the Baptist and this and that. What are they going to say about those people? What are they going to say about them, Paul?
They're great.
You get it? So there's something wrong, right? Something extremely wrong. Wallahu alam. From online.
J.M. Bronx, New York. Would a woman wearing lightly scented lotion be considered perfume?
A woman wearing lightly scented perfume. Would it be considered lightly scented lotion? Excuse me. Would it be considered perfume? If you put the lotion on your body before you left the house, without the intention of perfuming yourself, and it's light, in most cases it's going to wear off. No one is going to be able to smell unless they're totally up on you, smelling you up close. Inshallah khair, la haraj, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Wallahu alam.
A.M. Morristown, New Jersey. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Mufti. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Can you please provide some books for beginner level student of knowledge? Jazakallahu khairan.
Well, Yaakov, books for beginning level student of knowledge? It depends on what you're studying. Inshallah ta'ala. I would say go to the library. Look at the playlists. Inshallah ta'ala. Hamza,
Can you read over your cat?
can you read over your cat? Quran is a benefit for all. If you fear ayn for the cat, or you fear that the cat is possessed, or whatever the case may be, khayran.
Jazakallah.
Ed Nord, Columbus, Ohio. Some people claim that saying Jumu'ah Mubarak.
Next question. We don't
H.A.
take questions from the innovators.
H.A. Hamilton, Canada. Should a man change his seat on a plane if a woman sit next to him?
If you can change your seat on the plane, change your seat. However, you may change your seat and end up sitting next to another woman, or end up sitting next to a they, a pronoun king. All right, so now it's worse now. Okay, or you may change your seat from a woman that's covered up modestly, and you may be sitting next to a woman that's wearing whatever, or a lot of perfume, not lightly scented lotion. Or, and this is, I can tell you of experience, all of the different lanes that I've been on in my life, too many to keep count. Sometimes you sit with someone and they are extremely talkative. They'll talk to you the whole entire flight. They don't care the color of your skin. You got a beard, you got a thobe, you're in Arabic, you're a human being. They're lonely, they want to talk to you, you look like a cool guy, they'll talk. All right? So let's say for argument's sake, you're on a plane sitting next to a woman and she's minding her business. She has on her headphones, she's watching a movie, she's minding her business. Oh man, I can't say that's haram. Then you change your seat and it looks empty. Next thing you know, comes another woman and she's like, hey, where you going? Have you ever been to Alaska? You know, last year I went, blah, 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 blah. Right? So you got to be mindful. Sometimes you can, you may run, but oftentimes you can't hide. As far as if you know that it's an empty seat, it's no problem, it's no issue, bismillah. But just be careful sometimes. Wallahu alam. Hamza,
Why do people water the graves?
from online.
H.S. Sarajevo, Bosnia. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. What is the ruling on airplane pilot's income if the airline he works for serves alcohol during the flight?
Inshallah ta'ala, this will be our last question tonight. A Muslim is an airplane pilot. The airplane serves alcohol. You're flying an airplane. You provide a general service for the people. What the people eat and drink is not your responsibility. It is not a condition for them to get on a plane to drink. You aren't responsible for everything they serve, everything they eat. That's not your job, that's not your duty. So I wouldn't say that it's haram to be a pilot on that plane. What can you do? And if they're not serving alcohol and drinking alcohol, there are people getting on a plane to go make shirk and kufr. There are people getting on a plane to go make zina. They're going to be homosexuals on the plane, and theys and thems and so on and so forth. Women and not a female, right? I'm a woman, but I'm not a female, etc., of munkar. How can you say, I'm not going to fly this plane because of this, and that? You just quit being a pilot. You go do another job, get another profession, you're going to run into those what? Same circumstances and scenarios. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. Wallahu ta'ala huwa al-muwaffiqu wal-hadi ila